Man, you guys are amazing. How'd you guys like Saturday? What was it Saturday? The training was impeccable. But today we have one of our own. That's right, one of our superstars down in San Diego, California. Single father, spearheaded, decided to make a decision. You heard his story, and for those that haven't heard his story, I'm not going to say his story. He might want to share some more of it, but he's down in San Diego. He has one of the largest organizations in ACN in the San Diego area. It was amazing. I was out taking a walk this morning early, like 4:15, ran into a guy that I mentored, his upline, Mr. Dakota Bragg. Guy stopped me and says, "Are you Al? You Al?" I go, "Yeah." "Al Thomas?" "Yeah." And he had a mask. He said, "I never met you, but I want to say thank you for mentoring Dakota Bragg." And he's turned out a lot of leaders. And then this is one of the leaders he turned out to Mr. Julian Lewis. And I said, "Wow, you never met me, but then again, how would you know?" Well, anyway, hey, I want to thank you, Mr. Julian Lewis, for all you've done. Such a great leader, a great father, a single parent, just a champion in my book. I don't care how or what, he's just a champion. He displays great information with us. Without further ado, all the way from San Diego, California, the great, the one and only incomparable, Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Sir, I'm doing fine. I might have to duck out because I have an appointment. I was trying to call you right before the call, but I know you're on the call, but I might have to duck out. But I'll be listening. I might have to take my camera off and drive, but I will be with you. Trust me.
Looks like we've been in sync lately. So you got the message about the white. Yeah, it's been a year now, sir. It's been a year, so we're in sync. And
like mine, sir.
I want to, before I even get started, I just want to let everyone know that Mr. Thomas, the first time I met him was in my mentor's penthouse, and I had to fight to get to a position, to be invited to be a part of a special training that he was doing on a daily method of operation. And I was ready to take notes. And what I noticed about Mr. Thomas is it was super simple. He kept things so simple. And a lot of people were like, well, how in the world is he having all the success? How could he go in 2 companies to the top? How was he before that at the top of his game in real estate and the businesses that he created? And it's because it wasn't because of the simplicity. That was a part of it. It was because of something bigger. And it was simple. It was the consistency. It was the consistency. And that's what I got from Mr. Thomas. And so I appreciate everything that you shared with me then, because it helped me to create a business that spans across the United States and multiple countries today. And if it wasn't for what you shared with me, I don't think, being as busy as I was as an engineer, I would have been able to do ACN to the level that I did it. So I thank you for that. I want to thank you for that publicly, and let everyone know that a mentor says something years ago and it echoes throughout your career and your business. And a lot of the things that he said, like my father and my mother, I didn't understand at first, but as I reached certain stages in my business, it rang clear. And the same thing's going to happen to all of you. And if you're working close to Mr. Thomas, don't take him for granted. It's easy to hear a lot of the things he says and take it as a friend because it's easy on the ears, but understand that there is so much wisdom in what he's saying, and you definitely want to take it to heart. All right. So now I get to talk about today's conference call. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to start off with a video. You guys probably already knew that. And the reason why I choose this video is because I sat this morning and yesterday, last night, while I was in the bed, and I was thinking, and I was wondering, okay, so there are only a handful of people that reach the heights that a lot of people want to reach, whether it's in business or whether it's in, fitness or anything. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what is the common denominator? And I want all of you to think about ACN for a second. By a show of hands, how many of you would agree that you don't have to be physically fit to have massive success in ACN? Is this true? Right. You don't have to be fit. Can we agree that you don't have to have a special skill or talent to be successful. Can we all agree that, right? And so I started thinking about all of it. And what I realized is everyone that I was going to be on the call with this morning have everything that you need to succeed. 100% of the people that are on the call this morning have everything that you need in here already to succeed. The problem is that there are also things in here that are counterproductive, that will block your blessings. So you have a mixture of all these things. And at the end of the day, the thing that keeps people from succeeding is negative thinking. That's really what it is. There's nothing else. Like what I went from peeling back layer after layer last night in the bed and this morning. And there's nothing else other than when you get down to the bottom of it, whether you want to say it's from my childhood, stuff that happened in my childhood, you're still thinking about it, right? Whether you say, oh, it's because this happened with my relationship. Well, that's not now. So it's not the relationship. It's your thought process about the relationship. It's your thoughts about money. It's your thoughts about time. These are the things that break you down so that you cannot succeed in the present moment. So if it's the thoughts that are the problem and you have a mixture of good and bad, then can it also be true that the thoughts are the solution? Absolutely. So what I want to do is I want to play you a quick, it's 8 minutes and 42 seconds. I want you to pay close attention to it. All right. You don't have to take notes on this video. What I want you to do is pay attention. All right. Get focused on it and start to think about your own thoughts as they speak. If you want the video to replay later, I can post in the chat. So don't worry about taking notes on this. Just really get into it wherever you're at, get focused, get all the distractions out the way, and let's watch this video together, okay? All right, let me bring it up.
I believe that thoughts are the greatest vehicle to change power and success in the world. Everything begins with thoughts.
Your words become your reality. You are where you are today, in part because of what you've been saying about yourself. Words are like seeds. When you speak something out, you give life to what you're saying. If you continue to say it, eventually that can become a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are prophesying your future. And this is great when we're saying things like, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I will accomplish my dreams, I'm coming out of debt. That's not just being positive, you are prophesying victory, prophesying success, prophesying new levels. Your life will move in the direction of your words. But too many people go around prophesying just the opposite. I never get any good breaks. I'll never get back in shape. Business is slow. I'll probably get laid off. Flu season is here. I always get it. They don't realize they are prophesying defeat. It's just like they're calling in bad breaks, mediocrity, lack. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds.
So the first thing you have to do is you have to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts. You got to notice your automatic habits and behaviors. And you have to become aware of your emotions that keep you anchored to the past. And if you can become so conscious of the unconscious states of mind and body that they would never slip by your conscious awareness again, you're becoming familiar with the old self so you don't return. Then if you begin to think about new ways of being defined by a vision, plan your behaviors, review them in your mind. Now, if you keep doing that over and over again, you begin to become familiar with a new state of mind. At the same time, if you can emotionally cultivate your inspiration, your joy, your enthusiasm ahead of the experience, by repeating that over and over again, cultivating that state, it's going to begin to become familiar to you. So then the process of change then requires unlearning and relearning, breaking the habit of the old self, reinventing a new self. Unmemorizing emotions that are stored in the body, then here's the key: reconditioning the body to a new mind and to a new emotion. It's literally moving from your past to your future. It's losing your mind and creating a new one. And so then when you begin to understand that in that process, it's going to feel a little bit unfamiliar, uncomfortable. And if you can relax into that, instead of going back to the past, continuously invest in your future, sooner or later, it'll begin to become easier and easier and easier. And all of a sudden, when you least expect it, something amazing is going to happen in your life. And when that event begins to occur, you're going to pay attention to what you did inside of you now to produce the effect outside of you. And that's called human empowerment. And there isn't a person in the world that's excluded from this equation.
Someone's watching this and they have a thing something they want to change, and it's not sticking, then maybe it's the environment. Maybe you could check about your habits, but maybe it's your beliefs and your values. Some people will not get themselves to read every day because they don't value reading every single day, right? Some people won't, let's say the behavior they want to change is, we did a podcast on how to remember names. I could teach them step by step on how to remember the name of most people that they meet, yet they won't do it because they don't value it, or because that's not important to them, or they don't believe that they can, right? Just like we talked about earlier, saying your brain is like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is a program it runs. If you tell yourself you're not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. They don't have a belief that enables that. So when I say all behavior is belief-driven, if you want to do this behavior, whatever it is, journal, whatever it is, then you need a belief that allows that to happen, because that's the program that allows it.
So how do you get that belief? Because you're going to feel like you're faking it.
Right.
And that's where most people stop, right? They think, okay, I get it, I hear what Jim is saying, that if I am able to shift my belief, then I can get a different behavior, but I don't believe it, so now I'm just sort of faking it. How do you help people overcome that?
Right, and so so some people approach it like, this quote where they fake it till they make it, right? So my thing with belief is, like when I do trainings in groups or online, my favorite way of changing a belief is getting them to do something they never thought they could do, because it opens up another possibility.
Like what?
So for example, in 1954, Roger Bannister, he broke the 4-minute mile, right? And so, which is amazing, right? Throughout human history, nobody could run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Now, if you look into it, how he was able to do it is he would visualize himself crossing the finish line, looking at the clock, and it says 3:59. Because he knew that success is an inside-out process. That first it had to happen in here in order for it to happen out there, right? Dr. Wayne Dyer has this famous phrase where it's not, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. It's like, I'll see it when I believe it, because it's the opposite, right? And so I always like modeling the outliers where most people kind of dismiss them. I was like, well, what's going on there that allows this person to get this kind of result, right? And so with Roger Bannister, he saw it in here, be able to produce it outside, just like any innovator or inventor or writer or any creator, right? But what was interesting is, after that, what happened? Nobody could do it from the beginning of humanity. All of a sudden, one person does it. What happens after that?
Everybody.
Yeah, everyone starts doing it. And so that's the thing. Now, what happened? Was there a big change that year in, training methodology and nutrition? Or no, it was a change of belief, right? Because the belief back then was, if you ran a mile in less than 4 minutes, not only would you die, it was your heart would explode in your chest. And like, think about like that would, and I'm a runner, right? That would keep me not just running, that wouldn't keep me from running a 4 minute, that would keep me from period, right? And so my thing is like, that was a change of a reference. That shook up a belief. So my goal with people when it comes to learning is get themselves to do something they never thought they could do. And then it opens up another possibility. It literally opens up their nervous system for something, what else could be possible. When I grew up, we didn't have we had no money, right? I had no education because I was a very learning challenge. I didn't know anybody, right? So I feel like it's not when people are, that's where they'll go though. When there's a stopgap between where they are and where they want to be, they'll say, oh, I don't have the money, or I don't have the education, or I don't have the intelligence, I don't have the network, or anything else like that. And you know, what you know, as for all incredible success you've had and the value you've created for the world, is that it's not about resources, right? Because we know a lot of people who didn't have any resources that were able to impact the world. It's about our internal resources. And what I'm saying is optimizing our environment, optimizing our behaviors, our capabilities, our beliefs and our values, and our identity, right? At the highest level, our identity, because you can't just change your belief or your values or your behavior even if you don't believe you're that kind of person. You know, that's why I kind of always go to the superhero mythos, because I want people to claim that identity. I call it the superhero you, that version of ourselves, that we're not waiting for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. It's like, you are Wonder Woman, you are Batman, you are Superman. It's just we have to commit ourselves to be able to unleashing.
Just starting there and being able to reflect and observe the different voices inside of us is a great place to start your self-awareness. Because the biggest challenge is that most of us don't know what we're listening to. And most of us don't even know that there are more than one voice inside of us. Just getting over that line is a huge win. Because now at least you're trying to differentiate between what you're hearing. And that's going to help you make better decisions in the future.
All right, so did you guys get a lot out of that? So the reason why I wanted you to hear that from many thought leaders is because they were all saying the same thing. They were all talking about, if you heard Dr. Dispenza's voice, and he was talking about the mind, and he was talking about something that you've learned before, taking patterns, unlearning them, and then relearning them. If you heard what, when you were hearing what the brain guy was talking about, the guy who always teaches on memorization, right? He was talking about Mr. Quick. He was talking about what? He was talking about how when you take a look at the thoughts and you take a look at the patterns, the mythos, become the superhero and to become the Wonder Woman, the Batman or the Superman. If you take a look at all of these people, they were trying to explain how to go from one pattern of thinking, which is stopping or limiting you, to another pattern of thinking, which will generate the results that you want in your life. And if you really think about the Superman, the Wonder Woman, or the Batman, I don't care whatever you think about, you might have been excited. I know a lot of people were excited about the 4-hour Justice League that came out. I've seen it all throughout social media. People are hyped about it. All 4 parts of that movie. And if you understand, people were excited because there was a guy who was a cyborg, right? And if you take a look at his story wasn't told in the original Justice League. They cut it all out. But if you look at, he was one of the most powerful people in that story outside of Superman, and it was because of his origin story. If you understand, superheroes all have their origin story, and they're all tough. They're all rough stories. He lost it, Cyborg. He lost his mother in a car accident. His father was never there, and then he lost all of his body in that accident. And they took some alien technology to develop his body out of that. And then his father sacrificed himself and killed himself in the process of trying to save his son later on in the movie. So that's a crazy story. But it's that the way you think about the story. See, every single one of those people that are superheroes with an origin story, for every one of them, for the handful that became a superhero, there are tens of thousands in this world that have origin stories that their thoughts use to defeat the person versus to create the hero. Does that make sense? So it's the way you think about your origin story. Are you using your story to say, this is the reason why I'm not succeeding? Or are you using your story as building blocks as to the reason why you should? Are you thinking about the things in your life and saying these negative things may hurt me? Or are you looking at them as these negative things are creating and shaping who I am? See, when it's very difficult for us to think about it in terms of thought, but it's easy for us to think about it in terms of physical activity. And I've said this many times, but I need to say it again. We know that when we go to the gym, we know that when we lift weights, we're not looking at the gym and we're not looking at the weights as things that'll destroy us. We're looking at it as the resistance that will build us to become or create the physique that we want. But then when it comes to the things in our life, why can't we see the things in our life the same way? See, that issue that you're going through in your family right now isn't to tear you down, it's to build you up. If you're having issues with finances right now, it's not to tear you down, it's to build you up. And the thought patterns associated with it will get you more of those challenges or more successes. If your thinking is absolute, I'll never be what I want to be, then guess what? You will never be what you want to be, because you are prophesying what? Those situations in your life. That is just the way it is. If you say you will never be successful, then you will never be successful, because the thought is powerful. But when you manifest it into the words that are coming out of your mouth, you bring that into your life on a day-to-day basis. And so if we want to be successful, then we have to start with our thoughts. I said this before. If you spoke to your child the way you speak to yourself, would you still have your child, or would CPS come and pick them up? I want to say that again. If you spoke to your child or your grandchild the way you speak to yourself, would you still have access to that child, or would CPS come and pick them up? And we wonder why. If you spoke to your child, listen to this, the same way that you speak to yourself, would that child even have a chance to become successful? Chances are they wouldn't. And so what I want you to do is I want you to start becoming aware. Start becoming aware. Take a journal. I don't care if it's digital or if it's a physical journal. Take a journal and start tracking your thoughts. Listen, everything that I've done in my life that I've become successful at, there's a process. And I want to share that with you today, because changing or shifting my thoughts started from a process. See, what you don't know is I had a lot of negative thinking when I was a kid. I was a positive kid, but because I was positive, that wasn't cool in the 90s, and it wasn't cool in the 80s. So I had a lot of people saying negative things because I was positive. That got into my psyche, all right? I had to break out of that in order to be successful. I had doubt, I had worries, but the child at heart was positive, okay? So what I'm telling you isn't from a space of not dealing with it. What I'm telling you, or not having to deal with that, I'm telling you every human being has to deal with it, all right? So how do you break out of it? What are the processes to break out of these patterns? The first thing you have to do is you got to become aware of it. We already know. We became aware of it on this call. You already know that you're probably saying negative things to yourself on a day-to-day, inundating yourself, bombarding yourself with negative thoughts. So that's the first thing. You don't know how much though, right? It's like someone who's trying to get control of their weight. They know they eat too much, right? They just don't know how much they eat, how much they're overeating. They don't even know the metrics. They don't know the difference between surplus calorie intake, maintenance caloric intake, or what? Deficit. They don't know the difference. So first you have to become aware. I'm eating too much. So now what? I'm speaking negative thoughts way too much. what's the next thing you have to do? You have to track it. So the journal is to be used, being aware of every single time you say something negative to yourself. I want you to start tracking it. I want you to become aware of the old you. You have to become familiar with the you that you're leaving. Does that make sense, you guys? And now you have that feeling. You can tell, you can feel the energy when you're about to say something negative, right? And so if you're tracking it, what I want you to do is I want you to read at the end of the day all the negative BS that you told yourself. And then I need you to ask yourself a question. Is that true or is it a lie? Am I the worst driver? Is that true or is it a lie? That's a lie. I'll never be successful. Is that true or is that a lie? That's a lie. And then what you'll find out at the end of the night is that you've been lying to yourself all day long. You've been lying to yourself. You've been abusing yourself all day long. And now here's the big question, because I'm telling you guys, I know I'm a little different, but this is how my brain works. So if I've been lying to myself, there's a huge question I need to ask myself. It's 3 letters. Does anyone know? You can post it in the chat. Does anyone know? Why? Exactly. Why? Why in the world? Why am I lying to myself? Now, I'm asking myself for a reason, because I really want to know. So why have I been lying to myself? Oh my goodness, I figured out why. Because it's my brain's way of keeping me in the familiar, which my brain sees as being safe. Are you guys getting this? So now my brain's way of keeping me safe, because my brain isn't conscious, I'm the conscious user of that thing. If my brain is doing that by default, it's keeping me from growing in life, because my brain deems everything that's familiar as safe and everything that is new as dangerous. I hope you guys are catching this. Now, that's not how children act. So here's what that means. This is so good. And I hope one of you, at least a few of you, are really catching this. So if children don't come into this earth thinking that way, then can we also assume that that pattern of thinking that your brain is using was learned? And if it's learned, it can be unlearned. Guys, look, Sergio, Fetty, listen to me, Willie, Akiko, David, Corey, Claudine, I need you to hear me. Look at me in my eyes for a second. I see you, Claudine. I saw you look up. I'm right there with you. I need you to understand something. 97% of what you claim is your identity is not. 97% of what you claim is your identity is your brain's way of manipulating you to keep you safe. But your brain's definition of safety is to remain in the familiar. So if that's true, that means your operating system is running on outdated software. So the reason why you're not successful is because you're trying to be successful on outdated software. Your belief system is not furthering your future. It's not furthering your life. your belief system is keeping you from reaching the next level. And I'm here this morning to tell you it is as simple as anything else you want to do in life. Because it deals with the main system, it seems more difficult. But what's so exciting is everything is the same. I believe in God. Whether you believe in the universe, whatever you believe in, here's how we know it's been created by an intelligent design. Because what we call the living word is written in everything on this planet and the universe. So if it's true in my body, it's also true in my mind. If my body takes me to tear it down, to build it up, what am I essentially doing? I'm tearing down, which is unlearning. And is there pain involved with the unlearning process? Yes. Why? Because I'm breaking free of beliefs in my physical. I'm breaking free of beliefs that don't serve where I'm going. I pray some of you catch this right now, because I think it might be going over somebody's head. It's breaking down the belief of the old construct, and it's building up where I need to go, and it's teaching my body something new that it will need for it to grow. It's the same thing in your mind. You've been running on old programs that aren't helping you to get to where you're going, whether it's I'm not smart enough, or I always mess up. I'll always go back into this cycle. No, the reason why you always go back into the cycle, listen to me. I need you to look at me again. Don't get distracted, just for a second. The reason why you go back into the cycle is because you keep running the program of always. Nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute. Even when we say death is absolute, you don't know that because you haven't gone to death and come back to tell us what's after. Nothing on this planet is absolute. And when you realize that everything is malleable, when you realize that, you'll be able to go out and win because you have control. Understand how your brain works, track it, then add positive behavior. Start waking up early. Wake up at 5 a.m., not because your job says that's too early or because the average person says it's too early. Wake up because it gives you more time to be with yourself in the quiet so that you can have introspect, so that you can start to understand what you're tracking. So now I got to at night, right? I wrote down all the lies, right? We got that? I know all the lies. I know that they're all lies. I know that's not who I am or who I'm supposed to be. I asked the question, what was the question? Why? And then I realized it's because my brain, it's not because my brain is trying to keep me down. It's because my brain is trying to keep me safe. Oh my gosh. So what do I have to do? What would a coder do? What would a software engineer do? They would rewrite the program. So now I rewrite the program so that my brain knows that safety isn't a good thing. Freedom is. Let me say that again. Safety isn't the good thing. Freedom is. If everything on this planet is temporary, can we agree that none of us on this call make it out of here alive? Right? 100 years from now, are there anyone on this planet that we know of? That we know? No. If that's the case, then why do you care what others think? If that's the case, then why are you so focused on things being permanent? Even mistakes you make aren't permanent. So we rewrite and say, my brain, I'm programming my brain to do what? To find freedom. So how do I do it? In the beginning, I know every time I do something that I'm aware of that deals with getting free, my brain is going to set off an alarm, right? It's like when you're cooking and you have a sensitive smoke detector, right? When you're cooking, you have a sensitive smoke detector, doesn't it set off the alarm? Do you run around like an idiot looking for the fire? No, you know it's a sensitive detector. So you got to look at your brain that way. Anytime your brain gives you the pushback, that is the detector going off that this is something, a behavior that will create what? Freedom. And when you do that and you repeat it and you track and you repeat, then every time you have that feeling, it'll go from a feeling of fear to a feeling of love. You'll realize, oh my gosh, I have to do this because this is a freedom activity. This is a freedom behavior. I have to wake up early. Why? Because my brain is setting off the alarm, which is telling me I need to push through and do it. Every time your brain sets off the alarm, instead of going into retreat, you lean into the process. And when you start to do that, you'll fall in love with the process because you'll understand it from a deeper level. Who's understanding something today about yourself? Okay, so I wanted to give you that quick. I want to let Jabri give everyone the opportunity to unmute themselves. So if anyone has any questions, because it deals with thought, I want to be able to address it and answer it, but I'm done. It's as simple as that, those patterns. Oh, wait, last thing. You have to write. So you have the lies, right? Now, once you figured out those are lies and you found the why, before you go to bed, you need to write the truths. What are the truths? I am great. I have succeeded in the past and I will in the future. I am victorious. I am intelligent. I've had several wins. I am loved. I am courageous. I've made it this far and I'll continue to make it. I deserve success. I deserve love. I deserve happiness. You write down all of the truths. And if you do that every day, here's what you're doing. The lies and the why is the unlearn. And the truth is the what? Learning something new. And then guess what? In the morning, when you wake up, you reread the truth. And if you do that for 21 days, you'll create a shift in mindset. And you'll notice the difference because as someone who speaks positively, I can hear, because I made that shift myself, I can hear when someone's running a negative operating system like that. And that's the reason why they're not successful in every aspect of their life, because it's from the base of that operating system. And the scary thing is most people are oblivious to it. They don't even know that they don't even know. You can tell. Some people slip into it. They don't speak life. And they may, here's the thing, they may speak life into themselves, but they speak death into others without even knowing it. I want to share something before I get into the questions. Look, Claudine, I'm gonna pick on you because you're right here in front of me. Claudine might not be doing everything I think Claudine can do in her life. Let's just say, because we're all in ACN. But if I say, Claudine, you're not doing everything you can be doing. You should be doing better. You should be doing more. Why don't you wake up early? Why don't you call more people? Now I'm speaking death into Claudine. I'm not speaking life. Does that make sense, you guys? So if I say, Claudine, you're amazing. I see what you've done, and I believe you can do even more. Claudine, I know you wrote that list. Let me work with you and show you that you know even more people than you thought. Claudine, oh my gosh, look at you. You got qualified in 24 hours. Give me a high five. You must have done this before. Claudine, if I speak life into Claudine, just like yourself, Claudine will start to believe it because she sees it. So leaders, I'm telling you this because this is leadership. Stop speaking death into your people. Not everyone is here for the same thing. Not everyone is here to go SVP. Some people are here to do whatever it is. And if you continue to speak death into your team, just like you, won't have success. It'll die. All right. So I'm gonna open it up. Mr. Jabri Clemens, if anyone has any questions or anything they want to comment on, this is the time to do so.
Mr. Lewis.
What's up? Is this Sam Foster?
Yes, sir. Dallas Marketplace. How you doing this morning, sir?
Blessed and highly favored. How are you, sir?
There you go. There you go. I'm great. I'm wonderful, man. Blessings to you. Blessings as well. I'm feeling great. Want to know, man, what's your daily motivation? I know you're giving out a lot of positivity, and I know that in the past you said you struggled with having some doubt and some depression. So what's your daily motivation?
All right. I don't believe in motivation, to be honest with you. So I believe in saying how you do anything is how you do everything. And I believe I believe that the magic is in the routine. Okay. So what I do instead of so when your brain, we're talking about your brain, Sam. So when you are looking for motivation, your brain is intelligent. So they'll say, oh, we can get Sam to stop because he's looking for motivation. If we say we can't find motivation, then Sam will stop doing what's uncomfortable and we can get back to the familiar. So I eliminated motivation from it. And what I do is I look at the goals that I want, the vision, like Natasha said, of where I want to be, right? And then I'm consistent with the activity. That's it. So it's like, do you need to be motivated to brush your teeth in the morning? No, nah. It's a part of your habits, right? So that's what I do for business. And with that, I'll say this to what Sam said. There is a secret. People say there's not a secret to success. There is a secret to success. Here's the secret. The successful get consistent with doing things that other people do not like to do. That's it. So it becomes their habit.
Great point.
I hope that helps.
So basically your level of consistency becomes the motivation that drives you on a daily basis.
No, it doesn't. It's not even a motivation. It's what I do. If you want to call it motivation, is I'm looking to become a better version of myself each day I wake up.
Okay.
So if you want to consider that motivation, then that would be it. But it's just, that's become a habit. Despite how I feel, I want to get up and create that. Like Jabri said, it's a normal part of life. Create a lifestyle. Great question, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Okay.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes, who's speaking?
This is Sergio in the Querétaro, Mexico marketplace.
Hey, Sergio.
Blessed to be here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you just recap? I kind of missed a couple of things about as far as writing in your journal. become aware, you start tracking your thoughts. You write down the lies, the whys, and the truths. Can you kind of just recap?
Yeah, so every night, because most adults think negatively on a regular basis, right? So every night, so during the day, you write down all the negative things you say to yourself. Like if you're in the car and you make a wrong turn and you say, dummy, now we're gonna be late. Even that stuff, you write that down and you become aware of it. And at the end of the night, you'll have all of these negative things that you said to yourself. And then you ask yourself, you write down, you go through each one and say, is that a lie or is it the truth? And what you'll find out is they're all lies. And then you ask why, and it's because your brain's trying to keep you safe. And then you replace all of those lies with truths that are positive. And then in the morning, you read those truths or affirmations to remind yourself of who you are when you wake up, okay? And what that does with the repetition, you're unlearning and relearning the new habit and then relearning the new pattern of thought. And that will shift the way you act in the world and how you attack the things that you want to in order to be successful in your life.
Awesome, sir. Thank you. Changing and shifting your thoughts is a process.
It is. So do it for 21 days. Don't miss it. Do it for 21 days. It's a simple activity, but do it for 21. You'll be surprised at how much you beat yourself up. I know I was. And then it'll help you to shift into positive. Even getting a parking space. Like, I'm not going to get parking. There's no parking here. And you don't, right? But once you change it, you're like, man, I know I'm going to get good parking. And you do, because I know I do every single time. It's
Mr.
that powerful. Yes, who is
Hi,
this?
this is Glenda. I'm just recapping from back when I was in school, and I would have to park on the street. But in the process of getting there, I tell myself, okay, when I get there, I'm going to get a park right in front of that building, and it would happen every time.
You are that powerful.
Absolutely.
Yes. I know it sounds, so some people on here like, man, I don't, and you know why? It's because you've been in your negative construct your whole damn life. You need to wake up. All right. Thank you, Belinda. Anyone else?
Mr. Lewis.
Who is that? Who is that speaking? Willie, is that you? Okay, what's up?
All right, how's it going?
I'm great, how are you?
All right. For someone like myself, that's a product of domestic violence, not physically to myself, but I was around it as a child. Okay? And during the course of my life, I've been blessed to accomplish a lot. But with everything that is accomplished now, for any little setback, the trauma of somebody else's doings hits me 20 times hard. How to handle that? I mean, it's like, that's the wall.
All right, so Willie, do me a favor. I got you. Mute yourself out. Something's going on back there, but I'm gonna speak on that. So, my parents loved me to death. My brother too. They came from the projects, right? I had to deal with it as well. There was all kinds of craziness, all types of. I'm gonna tell you something though. You started. It's our brains, brother. It has nothing to do with it. It's our brains. The first thing you got to do is realize that you were a child and now you're an adult, which means you were victorious. You made it through. So you got to write that down. The second thing is you are not your past. So you got to let go, brother. The first thing I heard you say, you have a narrative dealing with the child you. You are not that narrative. So you're going to have to let that narrative go. Okay. And that's what we all do. We hold on to these narratives. So you're an adult now, your parents were adults then. And as an adult now, a lot of us still feel like children, which means we're learning as we go. You have to take a look at your parents and realize they were learning as they went, and they weren't perfect, and they did things that affected you then, but you are who you are now. So you can choose to continue to speak that narrative, or you can choose to forgive them, let it go, write down all the lies, and then write down all the truths and keep it pushing. And that's the truth, brother. Even in your situation, you can shift those patterns as well. And I think I lost Willie. I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, that's the truth. You know, we are not victims of our circumstances as adults. We are victims of our choices, and we can choose to be better if we are aware of the behavior and do the work in shifting it. All right. So is that good, you guys? Okay. So,
Julian.
Yes.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Oh man, Mr. King, I'm doing well. How's it going?
Man, phenomenal. Especially with loading the guns up this morning. All I gotta do is pull the trigger now.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Got a question for you though.
Yes, sir.
Venting, and I'll just break it out because it's something that I do. Is like I'll not vent where I'm yelling and screaming, but if I have any, say you and I have an issue, and I'll tell Rose like, oh man, that son of a gun, blah 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 blah, knowing I'm gonna like say have to do business with you later, so I'll kind of get it out, and she gets like, why you give me all this negative stuff? I was like, babe, I'm just venting because now what for me, and I don't know why it works for me, so now I can go back and I can carry on a conversation that I need to carry on with you because I have nothing on my chest because I got it off, but it would just happen to be Rose. What do you think about that one? No, she wants to know what you think about that. I'm cool with it.
All right. I still love you after I tell you this, Mr. King. But you're taking the poison and you're making her drink it. So I'm just being honest. Now,
good, it's good.
And the other thing is, if you remember How to Win Friends and Influence People, maybe you need to go to the water's edge. Well, you guys don't have that. So maybe you just need to write it down, right? All the things about that person, and then crumple that up and toss it. That way you can purge yourself of it and not have to affect her with, so you can purge the poison without passing it or transferring it to the love of your life.
That's why I love you. That's good. Yeah, because it helps. It does help to get that out, because then I can go have a conversation and I don't have to worry about that thing in the back of my head going, just slap him, just slap him.
Right, right. And if that shift helps Rose, you know, I will be open to giving her my address to overnighting some tamales. And yeah, so thank you.
Okay, you have to come to Fresno for those. So I'll set some dates with you and we'll have tamales for you.
Well, then in that case, Mr. King, keep venting. You good to go. I'm teasing. Absolutely. I hope that helps though.
100%. Absolutely. So I'm going to start doing that now. Oh geez. Here. Thank you. But that was how you put it though, drinking the poison here, but drinking the poison and then having her drink also was I let that analogy hit home. So
thank you,
cool,
Julian.
cool. You're welcome.
Thanks,
bud. See you guys.
Good to see you, sir.
All right. So if no one else, I think that's it.
Yeah. Well,
okay. So tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Jabri, if you want to.
Dave raised his hand.
Oh, Dave, where you at?
Here.
All right. Let's get it.
Okay. Real quick. what was your process of when you was first depressed, and how did you get your affirmations start going together when you started going different? I know it was a difficult road. In other words, like a road to Damascus. But how did you start really doing it and get there? Because I know it wasn't easy for you.
Right. So it's actually happened a few times, and it happened in around my, when my ex and I, my daughter's mom and I decided we were going to go our separate ways. And I had this 3-year-old, and I'm like in the business, I'm a TC, I'm doing all this stuff, right? And I didn't want to, just so you guys know, so I didn't even want to answer the door. Like I had at my condo, the front door was, you know how you have the glass? So I would stay way in the back, because if I was in the front and someone came to the door, you could actually see me. And I didn't want anyone to see me. I wanted to be in the fetal position. It was just bad. What helped is my first TC, her name is Dr. Belinda. She forced me to get out of the house and work out. Okay, so that's what helped me. What I found is in later times when I had depression, whether it was with my father passing, going through transition from one team and having to build a team by myself in this business, what I found is when you're doing physical activity, you can't be depressed. When you're working out, when your body's moving, there's no depression. So I noticed that the more I'm consistent in working out, it actually helps to push me out of depression and into a positive state of mind. Because after you work out, you feel good. You also did something good to your body, which carries with you throughout the day, right? The other thing is having victory in the morning. So waking up, not hitting the snooze button is a victory. You already started your day correctly. Keeping these things far away from my bedside so that I don't reach for them first thing in the morning and then wind up seeing some nonsense that already has me losing, okay? So a routine, waking up, being positive in the morning, being grateful, thanking God for the day, positive affirmations that are on my bed, meditation, working out, and then getting positive audio, reading 10 pages a day. Those are things that can shift you. And if you do that, you compound that over time, and that breaks you into a bunch of wins, which takes you out of depression. That's how I did it. Yeah. So it's hard, man, because most of the times after Dr. Belinda, the other times I had to do it in my own mind and realize, what if no one was there to help me, how could I get out of it? Because what if there might be no one there? So I needed to figure out how to get myself out of that dark space. And it was a work in progress, but that's what I did.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Well, in that case, I know it's 10 o'clock and I don't want to keep anybody on here longer. I just wanted to open it up because oftentimes we have a great call and there are things that people want to say and we don't get a chance to. So with that being said, I think tomorrow's Wednesday. So we have, is that Mr. Dwight? All right. So in that case, Jabri, if you want to post it up, you can, but make sure to get everyone on tomorrow, Mr. Dwight. Also, don't forget, we have until the 31st of the month, all of the promotions from Vivint and AT&T, all those promotions from the international, the Game On event running. Take advantage of that. Get as many customers as you can. Even the Zoom Energy, $150 just for being Energy customers. There's so many things that are happening to take advantage of. Don't get shut out of that. So with that, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you on the call tomorrow. And I'm excited to hear about your journey as you unlearn, relearn, and become successful from the foundation. God
Wow.
bless.